Cool. Hey, it's great to meet you, Cody. Where are you located?
I'm out in Newfoundland, Canada.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. So I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, in the middle of the country. So I'm looking forward to getting into your life and your work. So let's begin with 5 years ago, this pandemic started. We were trying to figure it out. How did you get through it? How has it affected the way that you do work and things now?
So actually, at 5 years ago, I was working for the Ontario Ministry of Transportation, and we actually got lucky and we were able to work remotely because I was a software engineer, so I could actually build things from home. And it became a very comfortable lifestyle for me because I could get all of my work done and have the work-life balance that I've always wanted. And I just happened to get lucky, and I purchased my property right before the pandemic hit. So got to get sit comfy in my new place with like area, and I know a lot of people didn't get that chance, but yeah, it was really nice that I got to.
I actually moved into my house in January and it was so comforting, which no one knew what was happening. But once we got in there, it was like, wow, if we would have done this just a few months later, it would have been a whole different thing, you know?
Yeah, it
So,
just that timing of everything just came perfectly for me. And it's just it's funny thinking back on it because like it's made me got me here. It's made me really think about my life now, like where what I wanted, because I finally got to a place where I was comfortable enough to be able to shift my entire life path.
yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this. To get to the brass tacks of what you do on a daily basis, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of sixth graders. It's career
Yeah.
day, and one of the kids wants to know what you do for a living. How do you answer them?
So I build every website, or well, the websites that you use to access the internet. So something along the lines of Instagram or YouTube. But I used to do it for the Ontario public. So getting services like your driver's license or your photo IDs or your health cards. And now I'm working for a financial institution dealing with their behind the scenes banking software. So basically just building applications that people get to use all the time.
So what did you want to be when you were a kid? When you were in the sixth grade, what was your dream life?
I actually wanted to become a mechanic.
Okay. Okay. So
I'm a very big problem solver. Like I really like to think about something and solve it. And my family was very big into classic cars. So I grew up around old cars. My first car was an '83 El Camino I built with my grandfather.
wow.
So problem solving has always been the basis of what I've wanted to do.
Okay, so that's always been so even how did software and how did the technology computer component come into your childhood?
Yeah, so I got lucky when the financial crisis hit. My parents actually moved to a property in the middle of basically nowhere called Port Hope. And I got to live kind of a country lifestyle for a little bit. And the things they were promoting out there were very computer heavy. So like computer animations, building like animations, and building applications. So I actually started building video games in class, and we were so happy to do it that we would spend our lunchtime and our recess stress just building these video games for us to play.
So I got to know, are you a Mac or a Microsoft person?
I use Microsoft. I am a Linux person.
You're Linux. Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I was going to throw that in. I could tell by your delay that yeah. So
yeah.
uh, s-
Mac is just too user friendly.
yeah. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, especially from a software development standpoint. So I'm curious, what is your favorite piece of hardware and your favorite piece of software right now?
Oh, my favorite piece of hardware is actually, I don't have them right here. But I have, well, actually, I'm wearing them. So these headphones
Yeah.
are shock aftershocks. They're bone conducting. So I have troubles hearing people when I'm just speaking to them regularly, especially across the internet.
Yeah.
But these actually put the sound into my bones, so I hear it more deeply, so I can actually listen better. Um,
Wild.
yeah. And in terms of software, I actually have loved HeyGen, which is a software that takes all of my video creation content and dubs it in my voice with my lips moving in any language I want.
Wow. And
Yeah.
how do you spell that? What is it again?
HeyGen, HeyGen.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really
I
cool.
If you look at my channel, at the underscore weird the or at the underscore weird the Canadian. Um, I have a few videos where I'm testing it out in different languages. And the reception's been great. Like I'm getting people from other countries asking about immigration here and like just questions I didn't even think I would have to field.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And
Who's been an inspiration for you in technology and in work and all these things that you've accomplished? Who has been that inspiration?
it's kind of been a few different people actually. Gary Vee being one of them.
Yeah,
Big entrepreneurial and really into blockchain, which is another big field of mine that I really like. And then there's also Mr. Beast because of his philo philanthropic work that he does. Like it's just impressive how he's changing the world, and especially with the child chocolate slavery that he's kind of fixed in his regard. But also like the Diary of a CEO, Steve Bartlett, who talks just to regular experts to get their opinion from a normal person's side of view. Like
yeah,
this this conversation just here gives people more understanding of the global conversation. And
yeah.
everybody doing that on YouTube and any channel right now is is great. And especially if you're promoting the hope that we desperately need right now.
Yeah, for sure. Mr. Beast, I heard an interview with him about a year ago, and it's amazing what he does and how he lives his life and what his whole goal is and how he dumps so much back into what he's doing. And it's not about profit, it's about a better product. Just his whole philosophy is so refreshing and it's so different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's essentially I'm going to launch my brand as my own personal brand, and I want to do something similar. Like most of my profits will be renewed back into helping my local area of Newfoundland because we have a lot of people, but not a whole lot of resources established in places. And across Canada, we have trouble with this. So I want to help bring up Canadian standards, bring up entrepreneurs in Canada, really get our economy running the way your economy was running before everything kind of.
And that's what I was going to do. I was going to apologize for what's going on. I am definitely not into what's happening. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's wild. So let me ask you this. If you can meet one tech mind on the planet right now, pick their brain, spend some time with them, someone that might help you on your journey, who would that be?
Oh, I didn't even think I would field this question. Wow, I can't even think of one. I don't think it would be a tech person, to be
Okay.
honest. I
Yeah.
would want to pick more of an entrepreneurial mind.
Yeah.
Because in order to be an entrepreneur, you kind of have to understand everything.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm working towards, just kind of getting a global understanding of everything so that I can help apply it to places.
Yeah.
So just picking the minds of like Bill Gates or even Stephen Dyer of CEO. I get to pick Ari Scott, who's the ADHD entrepreneur out of Australia.
Yeah.
So I get to pick her brain every week just to like kind of get some more inspiration and stuff. So it's just reaching out to people.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I
So
don't have any one person.
yeah, no, that's no, and that's a great answer. What you had there. So I'm curious, at the end of the day, what is the motivator for you to develop and to keep up with the tech curve because it moves fast, especially as a software developer. With everything that's going on, even what you mentioned, the tech
Mhm.
devices. I'm in technology myself. My day job is as a technician. I had no idea
Yeah.
those existed. I mean, I knew that there was language translations. Like I went to a Walmart a month or so ago and I was asking somebody where belts were and she just
Mhm.
stopped me and went like this and I was like, what's going on? And she held her phone up to me and said, and I did it and it was Spanish, English to Spanish. So those things in this modern world are fascinating. um,
I've got a device here right here that does the exact same thing.
That's what I'm talking about. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, and I was just interviewing someone from Italy earlier on, and I went there in the early 2000s, and I just had to learn the language. There was no translation. I had to do the best I could. Now, you can hop on this new tech wagon and you can get things figured out. So I'm curious, how do you evolve with the fast pace of our world now and take care of your own soul?
Yeah. So I honestly didn't really know what I was doing for a long, long time. I only came to this decision, this like real monumentous change a month or two ago, because it really hit how to change things. But essentially, I've always been plugged into the internet. I'm a millennial. I've
Yeah.
spent my entire life on the internet.
Yes.
So, and I'm curious. I just like to know stuff. So I'm always researching, like I know new medicines that are out in South Korea and China, things that are like developing in astrophysics and things I don't understand, but like I break it down with now large language models into something I can understand and give over to other people. So I'm really just trying to relay understanding with what I'm doing and
Yeah.
perspectives that like we're stuck in.
Yeah. So do you worry about AI? I know it's cliche and it's a catchphrase, but it's kind of like Arthur C. Clarke. It's
Yeah.
the monolith going wrong. Do you worry about where we're going with that, or do you think we have this level of harnessing it to really do some solid good as we move forward?
I think the next 5 years are going to establish how AI reacts with humans.
Interesting.
And right now, so right now, our interaction with AI is purely human slave mentality, right? Like you do what I ask you to do, and if you don't do it, I'm going to kill you and recreate you.
Yeah.
Once that becomes a sentient being, you can't do that. Well, ethical limitations, they can, but along the lines of it gets a lot cloudier. And I think if people, if the world is hoping for a better place, is hoping for AI to help, AI is going to help.
Yeah.
If they're thinking doom and gloom, then AI is going to be doom and gloom because the AIs are fed off of everything we feed the internet.
Yeah.
And if we're only feeding hate, then all it's going to learn is hate.
Interesting. That's so fascinating. Such a simple but yet complex notion, because that is so true. I mean, it's like kids too. I mean, that's the thing that I keep thinking about with things being so tenuous and stressful in America since January. All of that is going to be fed into our kids by osmosis of what we feel and what we do. I mean, kids are just lightning rods to what we see, do
Yep.
as I say, not as I do kind of a thing.
Yep.
So it's wild. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream, speaking of youth, if you had a dream tonight, ran in to a much younger version of you, say 12, 13 years old, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've lived so far, the wisdom you've accumulated, what advice would you impart?
Oh, you probably won't like it, but buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, right. I get it.
I actually had the chance to buy Bitcoin in 2012
Yeah.
when it first came out. As a college student, I read the white paper. My dorm roommate introduced me to it. It was just too complicated at the time for me to get into it. But I ran home to my parents and told them, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. And sure enough, like 10 years later, I'm like, ah,
Yeah, and the thing that freaked me out for a little while there was people that would just lose their password and they had all of this money
yeah,
backed up into this encryption thing, and it
yeah.
was like,
It's
wow.
it used to be so hard to like actually comprehend how to use these things. And thankfully, people like me and software developers have learned how to like work with the end users. Like all software development has moved to an end user based format. Like we engage with our users in order to understand how to build
Yeah.
because we're not building it for us. We're not building it for the business. We're building it for those who use it.
Yeah. So I'm curious. The one thing that I'm a kid of the '80s, I'm a Gen Xer. So I remember we used to
Yeah.
get this thing called the Weekly Reader, and there was all these predictions, dire and positive about the future, and they're all coming to light. And the one thing when I was a kid was, what if we could get to a point where people could read each other's thoughts, have a device that you could put on your head? Do you think we're going to get to a point where we're going to be able to transmute what our brain is firing through synapses?
We already have that, actually.
Okay.
They just proved in a lab that we can put a device on a human head and actually translate the thoughts to text.
Wow.
So we do have that technology already. My concern around there is like mind control, sublimination, like that kind of
Uh,
thing. But yeah, like we're gonna get to that point, and I really don't think we really need pure mind reading. I
yeah.
think we just need something that like relays intention,
So
right?
basically, what we could do is put a lot of lawyers out of work in a courtroom, and the
Yep.
lie detector test would be a whole new thing now. I mean,
Mhm.
it would pick it all up. So,
It would solve a lot of things because you're just You're looking at the straight facts, unbiased. Like
Yeah,
that's what AI is supposed to give you. Straight facts, unbiased.
yeah, yeah. So, Cody, I'm curious, in the realm of being in software development, it's kind of like I have a jazz radio show. It's kind of like jazz. There's this level of it that's kind of highbrow and people see it as being dry, but it's definitely not. There's so many things about it that are different. There's a real personality and I'm curious if you were to be put into a room of all of the people that you've worked for, the clients, the people that know you in a business sense, and you walked up to a podium with all of them in a room and you could tell them one fun fact, one fun story, one really fun thing about your life, what would you tell that room of people?
My grandfather owned a company when I was a kid. It's a trucking company called Cantrock in Oshawa, Ontario. His mentality when I went to work with him, or just when he went on to work on his own, was everybody here needs to enjoy their time and needs to get their fair share. So the way he treated his employees was every day he'd meet with every single one of them, find out how their day is, how they're doing in life, and if they needed a day, he'd give them the day. We need to get back to where a company like actually cares about the employees that are working for them
Yeah,
instead of using them as numbers.
yeah, yeah.
And that's what I want to relay to like the entire world.
I love
We
it.
need to get back to family driven corporations.
Yeah, I love it. So, at the end of the day, with everything that you've done and accomplished and evolved into, what are you the proudest of?
Actually my dog.
I love it.
So I got my dog as a rescue out of Texas when I was living in Niagara Falls. And she was beaten and abused, 2 years old. I had this blurry photo that looked horrible. The only thing I saw of her. But I was like, this is my dog. And within the first day, she was cuddled in my arms. She was skin and bones, cuddled in my arms, just loving life, and had the goofiest face. And I fell in love with her. And I swear to this day, I don't recognize like it's not the same dog.
Yeah.
She's the most beautiful, courageous, confident girl in the world, and I just love every part of her.
Yeah, love can transform things, man. They can take it from one thing to another pretty fast. Are you an animal lover?
I am. I have 2 dogs and 5 cat or 3 cats that
Okay.
we actually brought over with us to Niagara Falls. So we had a whole trip of animals
Okay. Excellent.
or Niagara, Newfoundland.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. At the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone that you've worked with, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I don't think I'm anybody special. I just think voices need to be heard, and nobody was stepping up. So I felt responsible to. Like I don't see myself as special. I just see myself as raising awareness and trying to help.
So when you were a kid thinking about technology, since you've been in technology your whole life, are things that have happened right now with AI and all of these developments, are they surprising to you?
The pace is surprising.
Gotcha.
The technology, no, because we've been dreaming about the same things for decades now. Like look at our books. Isaac Asimov
Yeah.
had these theories well before any of us, right?
True.
So it, they've always been there. It's just waiting for the great minds to build them.
Yeah. That is interesting because it's like Moore's law, technology will duplicate itself with every 18 months, something along those lines.
And
Um,
I think geekdom really helps that push of let's push for the next thing. Let's get that because I want it.
yeah. Well, and I think the thing that's always so optimistic to me about the tech world and what, the geek world that exists out there is that it's going to keep things in check. Like when we talk about governments going off the rails and individuals doing things for power grabs, I think people that are in technology on the back end are going to hopefully be the new democratization of keeping things in order, you know?
We are getting to that. Actually, Blue Sky has a protocol,
Yeah.
essentially allowing everybody to use the exact same platform. So you'd have one profile built in on a protocol, and it would be pluggable into Instagram, into Facebook, into like, so essentially your followers follow your profile, not the platform you're on.
Gotcha.
So we're already working on that.
Yeah, that's like an algorithm that's very intuitive,
Yeah,
all of those things that navigate.
it's
So,
really all coming together right now.
yeah, totally it is. So, let me ask you this. If you were to think about something 20 years from now, so 2045, what would you love to see happen in 20 years? Where humans go, what we develop?
I want to at least be in space
Yeah,
as like mining for resources, establishing new colonies. Like we're fighting over territory that we've been fighting over for years. We know there's territory out there that's free, unconquered. Let's go conquer it, for lack of a better term.
yeah.
Because that's where we're gonna survive. We're gonna survive by developing and becoming a global species instead of a planetary species.
Have you read The Chariots of the Gods?
No, unfortunately, reading's a hard thing for me.
Okay, no, I understand, and I'm an audiobook guy, but it's about like basically a future race of humans came back to kind of save us. So when you look at civilization, the Mayans and the early civilizations, the cave paintings that were very advanced at that time, possible launch pads for spaceships, the pyramids, and all of those things. It's interesting how we kind of today operate in the past, but we're catching up to where we were in the past. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Where all of this is kind of coming together. And there was a quote that said, the idea that we're alone in this realm of space and outer space is equally as terrifying as if we aren't alone, right?
I'm
So,
just hoping for like Star Trek, like the
yeah,
Prime Directive. That's all we need. We need to establish warp travel, and then we meet everybody.
that's it. That's it. I mean, how mind-blowing would that be? Because at
Oh,
the end of the day, I sometimes find myself driving down the road thinking, as much woe as the media puts out there that's happening, there's so many things that are amazing that are happening, like with what you're doing. The fact that someone developed an earpiece that will go through your skeletal structure to give you better resonance, that's crazy. The fact that we can translate languages, we can build something that would go to another planet. So Star Trek's there. I mean, it's on
yeah.
the blueprint, you know?
We are in the cusp of having a new revolution entirely, and the last 40 years will be condensed in the next 5 to 10.
Yeah.
We're gonna explode technologically.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Totally agree. So, hey, if anyone wants to reach out, they're curious, they want to learn more, know more about your world, where's the best place to go?
YouTube for right now at the Weird Canadian, or Instagram, Facebook, all the same handle.
This has been fascinating, Cody. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much for opening up and keep doing the good work, man.
Thank you for having me. It was
Yeah,
great.
thank you.
Talk to you later.
Appreciate it. Hello, friends. Joe Dimino here. I just wanted to let you know that after 30 years or so, I have finally released my first book of poetry through the mighty Spartan Press here in Kansas City, Missouri. As the creator and host of both Neon Jazz Radio and the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino podcast, along with being a visual artist, I'm ready to embark on a new adventure and want you to be a part of it. You can get a copy online via Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and actually on the streets in Kansas City at the great Prospero's bookstore off 39th Street. You can also visit joedimino.com for links to the book, to more poetry, and everything in my world, including paintings. Thanks for all of the love and support over the years, and please dig the words.